And that typhoon was not so great actually. In my perspective, there had been many greater typhoons, as you know, I have ever experienced. So it was maybe not 2 years before, but maybe there was really a great typhoon which attacked the region the region where I live in, and where I live actually. I'm sorry for my grammatical mistake anyway. So I live in a Kanto region, and anyway, so and among which, so I live in I live in an area, and there had been a huge typhoon which and that area, and that was where I live at that time, and that greater typhoon came before the pandemic of coronavirus, and at that time maybe so some rainwater infiltrated into my residence, and I clean so it cleaning up my residence was difficult. And anyway, so as long as I can remember, that was the greatest typhoon I have ever experienced. And this time, but actually, so typhoon is typhoon, which means so I had some difficulties. Or I went I had gone well I went anyway I went some difficulties in commuting, and on that day when on that date on the day or on that date when the typhoon hits the area I live in. So I went to my company, or I commuted to my workplace as always, and I could commute, or I could arrive at my workplace as always. So of course there had been at that time maybe no there had not been any planned cessation or planned cancellations of transportations at that time. And maybe, yeah. So actually, that typhoon was not so big, or not so large. So which is why, so of course, so I have difficulties as always. So when you go to when you go to somewhere, or on rainy days, please imagine such a situation. So you have anyway. So you wake up on that. You wake up one day, and that day was, and it is rainy on that day. And so if you go somewhere, or if you go to somewhere, and you need umbrella, you need an umbrella, or you need a raincoat, and which is one of the difficulties caused by rainy days. And so in my case, so that typhoon was one of such such, how should I say, one of such difficulties, and one of such a kind of meteorological barriers. And anyway, so there's no such term anyway. I know that, but actually, so anyway, I had how should I say, I had some difficulties, as difficult as those in ordinary rainy days. So in short, or roughly saying, or not roughly, and in short, and the conclusion the conclusion about that date of typhoons, not the conclusion of this episode. The conclusion about on that date of typhoon was that there was a literal difficulty, which is a truth actually. And anyway, I should tell you not typhoon. I should tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. The title is "Dancers in the Typhoon," and the conclusion is: some people went through big deals, and for example, And I wrote the examples of big deals, and in the description column of this episode. And one of them is Johnny's agency, and the Johnny's agency has become really famous, or has become infamous or notorious for sexual abuses perpetrated or committed by the founder. And I thought his name was his name Mr. Jun Kitagawa? I thought his name, but actually, there's a famous agency of celebrities, the name of which is Johnny's agency, and Johnny's agency has become, as I have told you, Johnny's agency is infamous or notorious for the sexual abuses committed by the founder against boys, Japanese boys, and they went through and they went award. The Johnny's agency went through flaming press conferences, and there was a anyway. So at least there was a press conference, and in which so some people, of course, so the related people the related people appeared, and by the way, the founder had already passed away, and one of the participants is the incumbent president of the agency, and who has resigned, maybe. And another person was the successor, was the next president of the Chinese agency, and he is going to, maybe I think he is going to go through really huge or extremely hard difficulties, I think. And another person was the president of the subsidiary companies of the Chinese agency, or of the agency. And the other one was the fourth person, or actually the fourth person is a lawyer, or is an attorney. So four member appeared to that, or four members, or four related people appeared to the press conference. So I don't know how many press conferences are held in this case of sexual abuses by the founder, or Mr. Juni Kitagawa. And wait a moment, please. Should I investigate his name and Johnny's agency? And it's easy to investigate. And Johnny's agency. I don't know whether I can correctly access this or not. Yes, the name of the founder was correct. John Hiromu Kitagawa, which is the name of the founder of Johnny's agency. Anyway, so that was a big deal. So I have heard of some sadistic ladies abusing or sexually torturing masochistic boys. But actually, in this this case of the Chinese agency is outright outright crime, or outright how should I say, felon, or anyway that's a crime named sexual abuse. And so it means Mr. Juni Kitagawa was a child molester. He was a child molester, or he was how should I say, he was worldwidely known really famous sexual molester, which is the instinct of the founder of Johnny's agency, I think. So according to according to that series of cases, anyway. So anyway, so maybe the successor of the agency is going to experience really difficult cases in the future. And according to Mr. Hiroyuki Nishimura, and he's not involved into this case, and I think, and he's a famous entrepreneur of my country, and he said that the agency is going to be destroyed, and so maybe so that agency had some prominent or that agency had some excellent people or excellent members or excellent staff members or excellent candidates, so who are able enough to succeed their business. But actually, so the incumbent president fired or anyways, the president kicked them out of the agency, or the incumbent president laid off those able candidates or able staff members. So which is why, so so of course, so the successor of this time can maybe excellent, but actually, so according to the news of my country, he had been one of the members who also abused who also sexually abused boys, and actually, by showing his own penis to younger boys, actually, and who is and which is a crime committed, which is a crime which was allegedly committed by the next president of that agency. Anyway, so telling the truth, the situation of the agency is such a situation. So which is why, so it's likely to say that the agency is going to be destroyed. And another person who experienced difficulties is me. And this is also written in the description column of this episode. So I went to my workplace. It was tough, and but actually, so it is tough when commuting to my workplace on rainy days. But actually, so there was no difference between commuting in ordinary rainy days or in commuting in that in on that date of that on that date of or on the day of that typhoon. And so, by the way, so if you'd like to know the information of that typhoon, so please access the description column of this episode, and so that you can find out the link of news written about the typhoon. And I should tell you the name of the typhoon. And the name of the typhoon is, wait a moment please, that was Yun-yeung, Y-U-N-Y-E-U-N-G. And this year's 13th typhoon. Anyway, so this is 2023, so in summer, and I shouldn't tell you, I don't have to give you more information. Anyway, so there was a typhoon, and so because of which I had some difficulties, or I had some. Anyway, it was difficult for me to, or it was tough for me to commute to, or go to my workplace. But actually, so if you ask me whether that was really difficult or not, or commuting was really difficult on that day or not, so the answer is no, it wasn't. Anyway, so so no, it wasn't. It was not so difficult actually, but commuting on sunny days is easier. Even though it's extremely hot in summer in this country, because the outside temperature is around those of human bodies, and the temperatures of human bodies are 36 degrees or 37 degrees or from 36 degrees to 37 degrees, and the outside temperature in summer in this country are so 36 degrees to 37 degrees or higher in this season or in summer in this country. And this high temperature this high temperature is repeated every summer in my country, and which is a situation of my country. And maybe other people might have some difficulties on that date or on the day of typhoon. But actually, I don't know what who experienced what. So anyway, this is the end of this episode. And this is, yes, I'm going to finish this recording. So wait a moment, please. The title is Dancers in the Typhoon. The conclusion is some people went through big deals. And for example, in the case of Johnny's agency, they went through flaming press conferences, or some staff members went through flaming press conferences. And me, I went to my workplace. It was tough. By the way, so I brought the name of the name of a movie. I brought the name of a movie for the name of this episode. And what I'm saying is that, you know, so maybe some of you may know the movie Dancer in the Dark. So I used that title of that movie for naming this episode. So which is why, so, you know, I named this episode Dancers in the Typhoons, and not the dancers in the typhoon, but not the dancers in the typhoons, but the dancers in the typhoon. So I mistakenly used the plural form for the word typhoon, but actually dancers in the typhoon. And I was one of those dancers, and another dancer another dancer was Johnny's agency, or the staff members of Johnny's agency. And there must have been still other dancers in the typhoon. So which is what I directed to know this time. And I used the name of a movie, and the name of which the title of that movie was Dancers in the Dark.